getting ready for tonight's TBT game inside Lee Arena, home to the Washburn Ichabods, and a guy who knows a thing or two about the Washburn Ichabods, specifically men's basketball. The head men's basketball coach at Washburn joins us now, Brett Ballard. And Coach, how does it feel to see guys like Frank Mason and Michael Beasley, just envisioning these guys playing on this floor here at Washburn University? What an opportunity to showcase all the wonderful renovations that you guys just got done completing last fall.
Yeah, I think there's a ton of positive things about this. For me, probably selfishly, the most exciting thing is to get more eyeballs, on our program, on this facility. We just renovated it last year, and it looks amazing. So not only from the TV people, the people that watch on TV, that perspective, but we've led Division II in attendance. We led it 2 years ago, top 3 last year. So we've had great crowds, but I think there'll probably be some people here tonight from Topeka that maybe haven't been here. And what I hope is they'll see, how nice this place is and kind of make them want to come back. But it's going to be awesome. The fact you got KU and K-State, we've got a lot of those fans here in town, some great players playing, and then two, former Washburn Ichabods, Jacob Hanna and Andrew Orr playing in this game. So, from my perspective, that's cool to see our guys back here too.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Andrew Orr and Jacob Hanna. A little conflicting for Andrew because his dad played at Kansas State, so it's got to be a unique feeling for him. And then there's Jacob, who's got a brother at Kansas State. He got dapped up by Avery Johnson last night, so certainly he's got some K-State ties when it comes to that. But how instrumental were those two players to accelerate this program forward to get it to a point like this past year when you guys have very few losses? Year before, Jacob Hanna, part of the Final Four run. I feel like those two guys were just so instrumental in trying to continue the building process here at Washburn University.
Yeah, no question. Those guys are both winners, and Andrew was here all 4 years and really helped. The program had been in a really good place and consistently been one of the better programs in Division II, but Andrew really kind of helped lay the foundation for what we were going to be. And then, Jacob, I give him a lot of credit in coming in and kind of getting us over the hump and kind of just allowing us to take another step. It was a lot of guys that contributed to that, but I think Jacob deserves a lot of that credit. He was only here a year. I wasn't very smart. He's, from Mays, and we didn't recruit him very hard out of high school, and then he got really good and, really got better. But we were fortunate to have him for a year, and, those guys were both together on that Final Four team 2 years ago, which then kind of set the tone going into last year where we were, 31-2 and ranked number 1 in the country for most of the season. Those guys certainly have their fingerprints all over this program.
Yeah. When you were looking at Jacob, and I told him when he entered, I was like, hey, I was trying to get the Friends coach to get you, but I know better than that because the athleticism, you could just see it jump off the page.
Yeah.
And there are guys at the NAIA level who are very, very athletic, but Jacob's a whole nother beast. And you saw it last night. He scores 10 points there for Jayhawks Hoops. He's flying to the rim and finishing at a high clip, and he's got a nice little dunk in there. So when Jacob Hanna entered the portal and you were taking a look at guys, how'd you go about evaluating him in order to go, yeah, this is a guy that we need that is going to take us to the next level?
Yeah, we had recruited Jacob a little bit in high school, and the athleticism always stood out. I mean, he was a big-time high jumper and a great athlete on the basketball court, and always played hard. He was a little raw, and he'd even tell you that, a little bit raw. And to his credit, he really worked and improved his skill set. So we had kind of had our eye on him, for a couple of years, just kind of tracking him because he was a local guy. And so once he got in the portal, man, he was our number 1 target that year. He had some connections here. One of our coaching staff members had a pretty good relationship with them from high school because they both played together and are played around the same age. And so, we were all over him. I think the athleticism's there. He's gotten better. Phenomenal human being, though. Just a competitive, great spirit. He plays with an energy. He's not afraid on the court, and he kind of brings a mentality to your team of toughness that we value. So really happy for him. He played overseas last year in Spain, did really well. Great success story of a guy from Washburn and a local kid from Wichita.
How did you and the team go about business last year being number one in the country? Because obviously there's expectations after you go to the semifinals. Certainly the next question is, well, are we going to take a step forward and try to win a national championship? How did you go about business, I suppose, last season as a coaching staff, as a team, to have a season in which you only have just a couple of losses? That's pretty unheard of, especially at the MIAA level, knowing how tough the MIAA is on a regular basis.
Yeah, it's a great league, great coaches and players. I was worried going into last year just because you knew the target was going to be there coming off a Final Four season, and were we going to have to battle some complacency coming off the success from the year before. But man, those guys last year were just a tight-knit group. They were very self-motivated. They were extremely competitive, and they were disciplined. And it was a combination of things that allowed us to really play well. And the great thing about that team was they came ready every day, practice and games. And specifically with the games, they would just possession by possession be really locked in, and we were just hard to beat. The other good thing about that team was when we got up on people, a lot of times your tendency is just kind of let your foot off the gas and you naturally relax a little bit. Those guys were like sharks in the water and smelling blood, and they would put their foot on the gas, and if we were up 15, they wanted to beat you by 25, and we led the country in margin of victory at almost 24 points a game, and that was with us playing a top 10 schedule in the country and playing MIAA. So that tells you we had a very, very competitive, tough, talented team. They were great. We didn't finish how we wanted, and that left a bad taste in our mouth. I think we'll use that as motivation. We have use that as motivation going into this season. But those guys that were here last year deserve a ton of credit and have a lot to be proud of about how they represented our program and the way they played.
How have you been able to build this program? Everyone who, and maybe for those who are unfamiliar, I was telling Coach Ballard earlier about my old days here at Lee Arena. Bob Chipman leading the charge, legendary coach. There's a reason why that floor is named after Bob Chipman. That the guy's legendary. You know this, when you follow someone like that, it could be a major, major challenge. How have you been able to build here at Washburn to turn it into a program that can contend on a national stage year in and year out?
Yeah, people ask me. I thought that was an extremely positive thing coming to a place that had a tradition and had an environment where people loved and supported basketball and had been really successful. So I thought it was. I'd much rather go to a job like that where there are expectations and there is a foundation there and there is a history of support, and then a job where you're trying to build everything from ground zero. And there's positives of both, but for me, I thought this was a great situation to come into a place that I knew was passionate. And I think we've just tried to. One is we've really recruited the local guys hard. I mean, Wichita, Kansas City, Omaha. We are there. We're trying to get the best guys out of those places every year. We've had some. We got Cy Stuckey coming from Mays, who will be a freshman for us this year. We've got Reese Riddell from Kansas City. So, even this class coming in, we've got those guys. But we've really tried to get the best players out of this area because we feel like that gives us a really good chance to be successful. Good high school coaches, good AAU programs in this region. And again, it's your staff, it's players, it's the support, it's our administration. A lot of things that go into winning. We've been very fortunate here. I feel very supported, and I'm proud of what the guys have accomplished. But again, it comes down to good players make me look pretty good.
I learned that a long time ago when I was in Salina at covering Kansas Wesleyan, and Matt Drinkle was now the head coach at Central Michigan. He was the head football coach at the time at Kansas Wesleyan, and I asked him a question, something like, hey, how'd you able to do it, that type of thing. good players.
Yeah.
That was just his answer. I'm like, well, that's okay. Simply put, just have good players.
I had a high school coach this summer local high school coach, coaches a smaller high school, and wanted to talk, and I said, great. And he goes, Coach, when you guys do this, it looks so good. And this, he goes, how are you? And I just said, hey, listen, I said, no offense to whatever you're going to try to do, but I've got really good players. So this stuff's probably going to look, no matter what we did, it probably was going to look pretty good. And I said, I don't know that you're going to have quite that at that, 2A high school. Hopefully you do, but you're going to have to tweak some things. But, it does come down to just you try to recruit the right people in here and have talent, but kids that care about the right things.
One of your assistants is now back in Wichita, Nick Jones, the head men's basketball coach at Friends University. Had a chance to visit with him, looked at his coaching record, his coaching tree, and I'm just thinking, dang, man, you've been pretty much everywhere. You got all these ties with some of these coaches, such a cool experience. What's Friends getting at a guy like Nick Jones?
Yeah, I'm so happy for Coach. He was with us for 3 years and was a great assistant coach. When that job opened, I knew he was interested. I was really hopeful he could get his foot in the door there, and I know he's fired up. He's from Wichita, worked on Coach Marshall's staff there at Wichita State for a number of years, so has a lot of connections there in the city, and was with us, was at K-State, and phenomenal human being, great connector, really good connector, will connect with his players, is a guy that is a relationship guy, and he'll do a great job with that. Hard-working guy, and like I said, has been around, some really good coaches, especially before he came here. So I think that he'll get that thing. It's already in a good spot, but get that thing rolling. And I know he knows it's a good job. That's a very good job in the KCAC, and he has ties there. So I think it's a great fit.
Well, Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you so much. This is cool to be in this Champions Club area.
Thanks for being here.
So if you're listening, you're trying to get some. I was told to get some season tickets. You can come on in here on a regular basis. This is great. It's really just incredible to look at how far this place has come in 10 years since last time I was in here. So really great to be here. Congrats on all the success and best of luck to you this upcoming season.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.